However, your purpose will not arrive if you just wait there and believe that it will come to you. No, you have to go to your purpose and try things out.
It's a saying that goes that you don't find your passion finds you.
Welcome to Connection. My name is Bilitis, or you can call me Actress of Change. And I'm pleased to be your host on Connection, where the voice of everyone matters. Well, for today, let's dive right into it. So today, let me introduce you to Mr. Jasper Basson. Jasper is an authentic accountant and entrepreneur in South Africa that lives his purpose of generosity. Generosity and kindness, adding value to fellow entrepreneurs and being an inspiration of hope to others. Jasper is as well the founder of Dryk Holdings Property Limited, which is a monthly accounting and tax consulting services. Jasper is as well the financial director of Lead Optimizers Property Limited, which is expert in niche market generation. He's as well a habit practitioner, and you can subscribe to his YouTube channel, Jasper Basson, Accounting Tax Habit. I personally love the inspiration and wisdom shared by Jasper and timeless leaders he shares the message of. Jasper is already an inspiration to many through his devotion to sharing his learnings in business, mental, and physical tips. I'm personally amazed by all the activities Jasper is involved with and his capacity to build around him a dream team that will allow him to develop and grow projects for the greatness of others. Please welcome Mr. Jasper Basson.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Jasper.
I think that's the best introduction I ever had. Thank you so much. And I think you summed everything up so amazingly. I'm very, very grateful that I can actually live that and that other people can see that. So, you really my life evolves around generosity. It's really my purpose, my ikigai. And I really believe you're going to dive into that today. But I'm very grateful that people can, and that you can actually see that from everything out there, the content I put out there, just being authentic and just being myself out there. So, but thank you for having me today.
Hi, Jasper Basson here. I just wanted to remind you about the Daily Entrepreneur Tips series. It's a business growth series for entrepreneurs and contains financial information and also information to grow you as a person and your business, because we will never grow our business any higher than we grow ourselves. So click on the link below and I will send you daily information to grow you as a person and your business, and it's for 365 days of the year.
You're most welcome, Jasper, and thank you for showing up on Connection, because that's how as well we can promote even more generosity and that we can connect others with what you do. And actually, Jasper, could you please tell us a bit more about yourself?
So, in a business sense, I've been accountant for 2 decades. I've been serving small business owners for 2 years. This year, actually, this is a very special year for me. I'm doing thinking about all kinds of generosity kind of acts that I can do this year, because it's just a very special year. I've been 20 years in this industry. Obviously, after that 20 years, 14 years, I've been dedicated to my own practice, Dryk Holdings, that you've mentioned. It's accounting and tax practice, assisting a lot of small business owners in South Africa with monthly accounting and tax. And then I'm also involved for the last 7 years as an entrepreneur in Lead Optimizers, where we generate, we used to generate online leads for clients. So it's niche market business leads in specific fields, various fields in South Africa. And recently, since lockdown, since COVID-19 struck, me and my partner's vision of Lead Optimizers changed a bit, in the sense of that we also want to try to empower other entrepreneurs in South Africa. So we actually now do a kind of a joint venture partnership with other entrepreneurs in Africa. We bring our leads, we bring our mentorship to the table and empower other people as well to build amazing businesses together with us. Otherwise, it's just purely giving somebody leads, and they don't really, I mean, you don't get a chance to influence them, but when you work closely together as a partner with them, you can start actually adding value to them, be a mentor for them. And because, I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs out there, they're very focused on their specific niche, and they're very good at like a typical employee to employer kind of movement. When you're employee, you know exactly what you're very good with what you do, but you can't change that to being an employer, because there's so much more to being an entrepreneur than just to your specific craft. So I think that's a nice kind of formula of putting a lot of other entrepreneurs together, empower them, and also give them something like an inspiration of hope and some hope for the future, for their own business, and something to work towards to.
Yeah,
so that's pretty much, I think, the two things I'm involved with as being a business. In my personal life, I'm a father of two boys, two beautiful boys, and a beautiful wife. And I'm married from 2004, so it's 16 years this year. So yeah, that's pretty much, I think, a quick summary of my life.
Well, thank you so much for being so open, Jasper, on your professional side and personal side. And from what I understand, yeah, you really aim as well to open up the eyes of entrepreneurs to see that there is more than what they think there is, and there is actually so much more to develop than their own craft, than the main duty they think they should craft. And actually, as an entrepreneur yourself, what would be your top 3 lessons of these 20 years?
So I saw the question, and I thought I'm gonna actually dive real deep into it, because I can give you like 3 just generic answers, and I thought I'm gonna do it very practical and actually whatever is implied to me and my past. So my very first, like I mentioned, I was an accountant. Well, I've been an accountant for 20 years, my own practice for 14. And during that time, I've also been an entrepreneur, whether it was part-time at some stage and now it's full-time, but always had an entrepreneurial side in me as well. So I was always involved in other businesses apart from my accounting practice. And one of them was a very big failure in 2010. Very massive one, really went to dark place, actually busy writing my first book now, and it's all going into be there, and it's actually very deep, and helped me to also to, the effort tool that kind of release the emotions. So that was a really good way for me also to release some emotions about whatever happened during that time. But that process learned me a lot about the fact that, money is very important, but it mustn't be your number one. Evan Carmichael always say it must be in your top 5, but it mustn't be your number 1. Your purpose must be your force that drives you forward, your ikigai, that I like to call it, need to drive you forward, and not money. Whenever I work a lot with entrepreneurs, and whenever I see that their biggest motivator is money, they generally fail, because you can only be so motivated with money for so long. Whenever there comes like a roadblock in your way, it becomes difficult, because you're not motivated, because you can't stand up for something bigger than yourself, like your ikigai, like your purpose, which drives you to the point where you want to go to. And it's always, there's never an ending point. It's always a process. It's never like Robin Sharma would say, it's never a process, it's never an event, it's always a process. So I think that opened up a lot of that for me, and it also assisted me going forward with a lot of, especially during this time, during last year with lockdown. I've seen a lot of these emotions and what's been happening to entrepreneurs here in Africa, well, all over the world, but especially in South Africa. And I've seen myself in that picture 10 years ago, and it was wonderful for me to actually help and inspire some of those entrepreneurs that also go through these dark times right now. So that was pretty much my first lesson. And then I met my partner at Lead Optimizers, and we started a new website, and we're at up to like 45 websites right now of generating leads. But it got to a point where we tried to do everything ourselves. Every morning, 4 to 6, I woke up, write the websites, and tried to get that going as well as a part-time. And it just got to a point in 2017 where I actually burnt out. And that was my second big lesson. It was really the burnout of, I need to clear up everything. So I need to go to the 80-20 principle. One of my friends, I like to go to the mountains, and we had a nice walk there in the mountain, a nice chat, and he told me about his friend that like almost every 6 months, every year, do 80-20 principle in his whole life, in his personal life and his business. And I went back that day and I actually evaluated my whole life in my personal capacity, in my business, and took away everything that didn't matter. And I was involved in a lot of things that really just boost my ego, but it wasn't really according to my purpose. So I stripped out all of that things from my personal life, from my business, and I really started focusing on that. And these days, even before I get involved in any business venture, before I take on any monthly accounting client, I would evaluate that client if that's part of my 80-20 principle. If that will, and that's the second principle that I learned from Robin Sharma, is your joy as a GPS, which really serves me a lot. And I need to decide if that person, my friend in my personal life, is that new business associate, new client, really fuels my joy, or will actually be a toxic and pull me down as a negative force. And for the listeners that don't know, joy of GPS is really involves 3 elements, 3 P's: people, places, pursuits. So I think that's a very good lesson and a very practical exercise to go through to make 5 positive items of each of those numbers, and because I mean, if you start writing it down, it will really just you will, the moment everything go from here to your pen on paper, it becomes very, very clear to you. It's something magic happened from here to the pen. All the scattered kind of thoughts just get like ordered in kind of in the right order when it's on paper. So write down those 5 P's, 5 items on those 5 P's, and you will actually be clear on what really fuels your joy. But second to that is also write down 5 of all that's very negative and the toxic ones, because I believe those are actually more important than the positive ones, because it's very easier to, it's like a frot apple or a rotten apple in a basket. It just gets rotten very quickly. So get the toxic out of you. So joy of a GPS, in very short, I think that's something I still live my days by. I think that's very important. I'm sure you do as well, coming from Titan Group. So, and then obviously I mentioned the Afra tool as well. There's something that also during that time I had to, I used a lot Afra as being aware, feel the pain, release the pain, and then ascend from there in very short. Just to, that's one of the core ideas of the 4 interior empires. It's just not mindset, it's mindset, mind, body, heart, and soul. And you need to work on all those kind of items. And I know from past experience that whenever there was emotional issues inside of me that we all go through every now and again, I couldn't be productive. I couldn't work. I couldn't be at my best at work and deliver at the best for my clients, for my team, and for anybody. So I think that's pretty much the 3 habits taken from my. Something else I actually want to show you to be very authentic. Yes. This is my business phone, and I gave this to my PA. He's just off sick today, but I gave it to my PA every day. And this is my private phone. This with really just 5 friends and family on there. So on weekends, I would generally be very quiet with everybody because I won't be on that phone. But it's a great way of put your work in chunks. So for me to prevent burnout and to not to be on social media or on WhatsApp, or these days what they call it Telegram now, all the time, I need to block out some time, and I like from 8 to 1 really to focus on what I need to get done that takes my business forward, whether it's writing fees, doing financial statements, these days not too much, whatever it is to take my business forward, that needs to be happened between 8 and 1, and then I can attend to everything else, phone calls, WhatsApps, and I've got a nice system of that, doing that as well with my PA, that I can really just go through all the messages and sort it out. So I think that's pretty much the habits that I incorporate for my burnout in that stage. And then lastly, like you mentioned, generosity. I really started living by my purpose. I found my purpose probably, I realized that probably about a year and a half ago. I really started living it, and as Ian Lopatin of Spiritual Gangsters say, generosity is the secret source of business. So, and I've seen it time and again. Whenever I'm very generous, it's not a trade-off, but life does happen. I mean, you can take it from anywhere you want. You can take it from the universe, the Bible, the nature, anywhere you want to. It's law of life. Everything you give out, it returns in abundance. So it was a very short question, but a very long answer. But
love it. Thank you for going deep, because that's how that's how as well we understand who make you who you are today. And so to make a quick recap for our audience, so you were saying your top 3 is actually that number 1 is that you don't put as a priority. Number 1 is not money, is your purpose, to go and drive your business through your purpose. However, money is still important, so to have it among your top 5 goals. Then number 2, it was about having joy as a GPS, and based on like the 3P: people, pursuits, and places. What brings you joy? What brings you toxicity? And highlight 5 of those per category to be better able to release what you don't need anymore, and to avoid burnout. And then the number 3 is about the AFRA tool, which is about being aware of how we feel, and like go deep, feel it, take the time, and then ascend it and release the feeling that we may have. And the extra tip that you mentioned is about generosity and how it has become so central to your life since over a year and a half. And as well, thank you for opening up on how you deal with your communications and really giving family, the value of family on your top 3, probably maybe. Yeah, I'm sure it's on your top 3, and how you manage it, because that's how you're able to manage your time. And that's why as well, you're able to say yes to what we do right now, because you are managing your time and as well, based as an entrepreneur for you, like Jasper, on the other side of the picture, what are the pitfalls that you have noticed for you or others entrepreneurs?
I think the very first one is which I see a lot, is people. I know a lot of amazing people with amazing ideas, but they're too afraid to start because they want everything to be perfect. And I found nothing will ever be perfect, because perfect is really just a place to aim to. It will never be anywhere near a start, or you will probably never get to a point that's perfect. Not the best perfectionist will ever get anything perfect. So I always say the first step is always the dangerous. I mean, fear is really a liar. So if you do that first step when you cross wherever you want to get to, it's very easy. I mean, I remember a story that I once told somebody. We've been to, obviously because I have boys, we go to all kinds of play parks and everything. And it was like that, that big obstacle courses when you get into a harness very high that you walk on kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And well, I used to be not afraid of heights, and all of a sudden I'm afraid of heights. So then I thought, well, I'm going to do it with the boys. And it's quite high. It's probably like a roof, the height of a roof. And so I've done it, and like by the second or third kind of obstacle, everything was all right. But that first step was terrible. And then as I became comfortable, there's a little youngster, probably about 12 odd, and I could see he was like stuck in the middle of that obstacle course, and he was like shaking, and I was on the other end, I was standing, I was like just try to encourage him every step of the way, and just look into my eyes, and just don't focus anywhere, just look into my eyes and just come closer. And the next weekend we actually went there again, and I actually saw him again, and I asked him, so have you been there? Must we go again? He says that it's fun. It's a walk in the park for me now. So in anything like that in life, you just need to do that dangerous, that fear thing that creates fear for you. That first time, step over the line and just go for it. So if you feel you have a book in you, if you feel you have your online course in you, if you have this new idea that nobody thought about and you will start do it today, because somebody else will probably think about it in the next month or 6 months. So pursue it, and the worst that can happen is it will be a failure. I hate the word failure, but it would be a failure and would be a great lesson to learn from doing something else. So, and I've seen that sometimes these kind of small failures that you do, something that you attempt that didn't happen, sometimes create doors for something else and opportunities for something else to happen. So if you go in with that mentality of there will always be an opportunity, even in COVID, I mean, there's so much opportunity. So Africa, which is a third world country, most people focus so much on the negative, lockdown, everything, that they forget to look at the opportunities. So I think I want to encourage everybody to really rather look at the opportunities, because there's always opportunities, especially in downturn economies. I mean, 2008 and 9 proved the same. It was, I mean, if you looked at the opportunities, there were multiple opportunities. Second thing, authenticity. I think there's so many people. I'm trying to be less on social media these days. I've got a social media manager, so it's kind of easier. But I mean, there's a lot of people on social media that try to copy the next best thing. They want to try to be like the other person, the other successful person that they see successful. And the most people on social media that seem to be successful isn't really successful. That's probably the first lesson. But being authentic, God doesn't create extras. He created you uniquely, amazingly, just you. If you might feel that, and I've been there as well, you might feel that some of the way you talk, the way you act, the way you look, doesn't mind, my nose is too long, or whatever the case may be. Everything that's there has been created to make you unique and make you useful for the world out there. You just need to find that purpose and just start living that purpose. And the less you worry about what other people think of your uniqueness, the more magic you will create. Then, because I'm an accountant, I would also mention be financially educated. A lot of entrepreneurs are not financially educated. They make a lot of money, but I was going to lose, but they spend so much money because they're not financially educated. So I think that is something for a lot of entrepreneurs to look into. You make a lot of money, follow your purpose, make the money because you're doing that, but also make sure that you either are educated or you have somebody that can mentor you during that process, that can obviously uplift you and create a better financial life for you. Because ultimately we all want to be financially free. We all want to make a lot of money, as long as it goes, obviously, as mentioned, as long as you do it according to your purpose. But make sure when you do that, it goes to the right channels, the right places, and you don't spend. I mean, I had a conversation the other day with an entrepreneur and said, but this 100,000 rand in Africa is a lot of money to make in a month. And he said, well, this guy only make 10,000, this make 100,000. That guy must be so much better off. I told him it's not the truth. I mean, sometimes people with the 10,000 rand per month is better off than somebody with 100,000 rand per month, merely because they spend their money much better. So I'm not a minimalist. I don't have a lot of stuff, but I'm not a minimalist. I don't go through the whole. I'm not a prophecy for them. But I think that there's a lot of value in there for not buying any. I like nice cars, but I won't buy myself a lot of expensive cars. I would rather take that repayment and I put in a bond and try to get my bond to zero, kind of thing, if that makes sense. So yeah, and lastly, I think and I only speak because I got a lot of experience from African entrepreneurs, but South Africans tend to leave. I'm not sure. Maybe it's global. Maybe you can help me with that. But a lot of people try to hold everything against their chest. They don't want to share information. They don't want to. They feel if we are both accountants, we don't want to exchange information, knowledge, anything, because we believe there's not enough for anybody. And the truth is, the world is abundant, and there's so much for everybody, so much more than that you can actually handle. So, but you need to be open to sharing. It comes back to generosity. Generosity at the end breeds abundance and prosperity, and you can't keep everything to yourself. Start sharing whatever field you're up. Start providing value, like you're doing kind of right now. I mean, do interviews and get knowledge. And yeah, just share the knowledge. I think that's pretty much my four pitfalls. I think there might be more, but that's the four I can think of right now.
So thank you so much. And yeah, just like, because your pitfalls are actually transforming into keys to succeed, because the four were like about number one, to like dream big, start small and start now. Like, instead of waiting, there won't be any perfect moment. So number one, start now. Then number two is about keeping your authenticity. Don't be someone you're not really just to get a customer. No, the customers will get to you because they think they can know you and they trust you, and there is this authenticity bound created, and that makes them understand why you're doing what you're doing, and your customers will be buying from your why you're doing what you're doing. Then the third is about financial education, and I love this one. I have a question for you on this one. And last but not least, yes, it was about sharing your information. Like, the more you will open up, the more as well others will open up to you, and from that can be created even more extra. And talking about financial education, what would be like 2 to 3 sources you would like to share with our audience for them to raise their awareness on education, financial education? And even myself, like, I would be like, I have read like Rich Dad Poor Dad, but what would be other recommendation to better understand what should we do with this finance?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think there's a lot of people that really goes very deep into talking about that. You mentioned Rich Dad Poor Dad of Robert Kiyosaki. I think that's a very good way of understanding the difference between the 4 quadrants in a sense of employment, assets, investors, and employers. So that, I think that's a very good start for anybody. I think that's a very good book for anybody to start with, to understand the difference of your car is not really an asset, it's a liability. Even though it might be on a balance sheet, might be on the asset side, but that's pretty much it. So from my side, I mean, you know, I do that daily entrepreneur post that I do. I bring out the ebook every try to do it every month. So in there, there's generally some financial information as well, some ideas of how I handle my finances. So I'm not too sure exactly where else to. Tony Robbins is obviously is also very, very big in financial education. But yeah, personal finance, I'm not sure exactly where to guide anybody. Like I mentioned, don't sound like I try to promote myself, but I do have that.
No, go ahead, please. That's your opportunity.
I do have that entrepreneur daily course. You can basically subscribe and get the daily email from me that it's financial information and inner work and everything business related. So I mean, maybe somebody can subscribe to there and catch some tips there. I sometimes talk about what I do about investments, where I rather won't put my money where I would. I might not. I mean, as a regulated by our financial board in South Africa, I might not provide advice for investments, but I do tend to give out information of how to kind of handle your finance and what I do. I mean, I just can just be authentic and just, I mean, tell everybody what I do. So.
And then being generous.
And being generous, exactly.
and talking about generosity as well, like if we move on to another topic, you know, as I'm getting to know more daily about the concept, like one of my favorite concepts at the moment is Ubuntu.
Yeah.
South African.
Straight from Africa.
How do you say?
Straight from Africa.
Yes, like South African wisdom philosophy. Like if you practice this, what could you say about it? Like how would you explain it to our audience? And is it something that you implement in your everyday life, personally or professionally? Like,
yeah, so Ubuntu, I mean, really means humanity, oneness, this you and me, and it's all about both of us. So, and when I think about it, my mind goes directly to abundance. And it goes back to a question or two, or answer a question, a few answers back. You never, I mean, you will never reach abundance, whether it's in, I mean, money it's easy, monetary value is easy to calculate, but in all kinds of aspects in life, you will never reach abundance when you don't want to start giving attention, being generous in kindness, being generous in your attention to somebody. Create abundance, create oneness for each other. So I'm trying to implement that in my life, in my business. To give you a real example in my personal life, whenever we go out to eat these days, obviously a little bit less because of COVID, but whenever we go out, we leave our cell phones at home or off with us, but off, and spend time with each other, playing board games, the old kind of, I mean, these days we like Rummy Cup, that good old card game that now is now a board game. But we try to, at tables as well, it's always very saddens me when you go out and people surround the table and every person like scroll through their phones. Me and my wife now and again go a date night, obviously, because I mean we've got two boys, and it's very, very fortunate with a lot of people that support us in the sense of be babysitters and all kind of stuff, babysitters. And we once went to a place where there's another couple as well. I could see they also been there for a date night and some accommodation, and they're both sitting across each other, both with their cell phones, and they're just like scrolling. And I mean, there's no connection. I mean, connection. no connection with each other. And I mean, think that's. I mean, if you think about Ubuntu, just in your house, I mean, it must be oneness. You need to be there for each other. You need to be connected. And I can believe. I mean, looking at your brand, Connection, Ubuntu. I mean, it's exactly that. So, and the same with your clients. I mean, when you're with a client, just spend time with that client. Just focus, being generous with your attention to that specific person, and the others can wait for their turn. I mean, that sounds harsh, but I mean that's the truth. I mean, every person that's in front of you deserves your attention. I don't sit here right now and I'm busy playing on my phone, and my phone is totally off. Nobody can reach me currently. So just being that space of giving, doesn't matter where you are, just give people attention that they deserve. In a time that people don't know that anymore.
Yes, and thank you for sharing your version of Ubuntu, and how do you live it through generosity again and abundance, and yes, it's all about like I am because you are, and I only exist because you exist too, and actually about like if we go back to routines and like, is there any routines or habit that you would like to share with us to maintain entrepreneurial mindset and physicality?
So I think again it all goes around that four interior empires: your body, mind, body, and soul. I've started morning routines, daily habits, more morning routines initially, and then like the daily habits as well. a number of years ago, and it changed a lot over the past few years as my intentions kind of changed. But there's certain things I tend to really stick to, and I will try to mention only those for us, obviously because of limitation of time as well. So I wake up every morning and I have a morning routine of 4 to 6. So that's my sacred time that I keep to myself. My family knows kind of that's my only time that I have myself. So the rest of the day I tend to them and to business associates and everything. But my morning after starts with the night before, in a sense where I drink, I'm because I'm pretty active in the sense of, well, active health-wise, fitness-wise, and also mind-wise. My mind tends to struggle to switch off. So I try to, these days, I have a book at my table and just try to read it for like five kind of pages. I drink lavender, valerian, chamomile kind of tea. I quite like valerian is quite strong, but it's still herbal tea. So I like to drink that before I go to sleep, and it helps me a lot to sleep. And my last 10 to 20 minutes, let's call it 10 minutes, as I actually close my eyes and go to sleep, I do certain affirmations, and I also do the visualization of that affirmations, because the subconscious is the most affected in that last 10 to 20 minutes before you go to sleep. And I do exactly the same the next morning as I wake up at 4 a.m. That would be my very first thing to do, is repeat and visualize my affirmations. And obviously that also changes as I go along, but there's certain things that's like will never change, and that will be like, it's my certain affirmations and visualization. So that's last 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and first 10, 20 minutes. Then I like that 3-pointer kind of gratitude journal that I do every day. I mean, people that do gratitude, you create happy people, and happy people create amazing businesses. So, and it just grounds you to the floor that doesn't matter wherever you are, it's exactly where you're supposed to be, and just be grateful for that moment where you are. Then I really like in that next up till 5:30, I try to read a lot, and really hard copy books. You will see at the back, there's a lot of hard copy books. I don't really like the digital thing. So I would read, I would highlight, really try to consume. I don't read those amount of books that I used to do. I rather digest the book very good. So I would highlight, I would journal about it afterwards when I'm done, to kind of capture every moment or every thought, every idea in that book for myself. And then at 5:30, I've got a gym at home, so I would, just outside of our house, I would do all kinds of stuff. I'm in martial arts as well, so I have a big kickboxing bag, and so I do all kinds of heat kind of training for myself doing there. Sometimes my little boy of 7 also joins me. He's also into kickboxing, so he also joins me. And then at 6 o'clock, I do a cold shower. That's really something that really serves me well over the last probably 2 years. I've done that short Wim Hof course that he talks about all the benefits of that. And there's all kinds of health benefits, but which I believe, and obviously he talks about as well. But the biggest thing for me, and to go back to that, is fear is a liar. It's something that really, I train my mind subconsciously every morning that I need to conquer my fear of whatever I need to do. To step out of my comfort zone every morning is to jump in a cold shower. Even if it's winter, then it's captured a lot better in your subconscious when it's cold. But yeah, that's something I do every morning religiously. It doesn't matter where I am in the world, I would do a cold shower every morning. So I think that's basically my morning routine. Further to that, I do that, Robin Sharma call it, what does he call it? The weekly routine.
The second window workout, you mean, or?
No, sorry. But basically a pre-planning of my week.
The weekly, yes. yes, a weekly planner.
It's like just it's out of my mind now, but it's basically a pre-planning of my week. So I would lock my weeks into my days and my hours into chunks.
Weekly design system.
Yes, there you go. So I would log in chunk out times for various things. Personal life wise, I would walk in nature. We would go to Palm Mountain. It's very close to us. I love Palm Mountain. Me and my wife would go there once a week, going with the dogs. I try to do 2 massages a week. My wife can do that, so she do the one for me, other one during lockdown. We obviously, because we couldn't go anywhere, but doing that, I got myself one of those massage chairs.
Okay.
So I'm trying to do it once a week in a chair, and once a week with a real person.
Sure.
And also, which something that serves me a lot was doing a regular energy healing session with my wife. She's into that energy healing as well, Qigong kind of idea, kind of things. Very incredible. She's really served me a lot with doing that for me. I think, I believe during the time I started that, I also found my purpose. I think that was one of the big reasons I found my purpose of doing that energy healing session. And you just feel lighter. And we have so many pains in our body that comes from emotional issues and that you hold back on certain stuff. And once when you're aware of those kind of things, you can actually, by the use of somebody like that, you can actually release that. And it's just amazing to go through that. And then lastly, what I want to mention was, what was the last thing? Well, just go back to journaling. I think something I started doing right now is actually to take my journal and once a day write the thoughts. What have I learned today from other people, from reading, from whatever, from a conversation? What have I learned today? And I would just jot it down, and I would actually write the person or the book or my own thoughts, when it's me, down there to remember that and to capture that, because we all get these, and at the end of the day, we have this idea, this person served me well, this person was toxic, this was a very good conversation, but then after, tomorrow basically, you forget about that and you haven't captured it. So that's something I started doing this year, to actually capture those thoughts and every single day. And what I've also done is in my journal is to write down my financial goals. And that's, you asked me, and maybe there it comes now, comes to me now. But I would write in my journal, like, I have this, I used to have that, not used to, but I'm pretty much almost there now, but I had this 4 or 5 year plan of paying my bonds back and repay them all together. And I would, every single day, I would write down the balance of the bond, the amounts that this month I intend to put in there, and where it will come from. It's like basically a sketch of everything that goes into my head, goes down, and draw myself a picture exactly how that amount, how that bond will get to, from whatever amount it was to zero. So that's something that people can also maybe pick up from here, is to, take your monthly income and start, get advice from people that where you can invest or do your self-education. I believe in self-education, not ready to give my money to anybody else. And then start writing the items down, just be clear on what is going on in your financial life. And once you write it down, it becomes clear. And every day, when you start repeating that every single day, because I've done it like that for probably 4 years, every single morning, every single day, I would, even if it's maybe the same thing, I would write it down, for me to very, very, very focused on what I want to do. And it's amazing how life just supports that dream, and it just kind of flow into whatever you need to be flowing into. But yeah, so I think that's probably my list of the main morning routines and habits that I do.
And thank you so much, Jasper, for opening up on your full routines. And I like the fact that you were saying that it actually started the night before, because we have a tendency to in general, we hear talking about morning routine, get your morning routine right, but that actually it definitely starts the night before, because that's how as well you set yourself for the next morning. And as you mentioned on the last 20 minutes before we fall asleep, it's where our subconscious mind is the most open to us, and that's when we can dive in as well to let him know what we want to do the next day, for example, and that give us this extra willpower to do it. And as well, like the fact you slow down, maybe for your journaling, your writing, at the same time taking care of your mental health and your physical health, that then allows you on the day to show up as you want and be available for others. And this, I love the way you're sharing it, Jasper, because it's really lead to one of my main message, which is like serve yourself first to then be able to serve others.
Yes.
And as
Exactly.
well how you include as well your financial part of it, because whatever you put for everyone, like wherever you put your intention into, it's where it's gonna grow. So if it's about finance, yes, it's about, and you want it to grow, it's about spending time there. What are your aspirations? How can you get there? The same may be for gaining clarity on a professional level. And something here to add to the previous question is more about as well, for those, we were talking as well about purpose. So for our audience, like a refresh on Ikigai is a Japanese concept to gain clarity over our purpose. And for those who don't have yet their purpose, I invite you to try as many things as possible, because it's when you try out and when you feel like if it's something you want to do more or no, it gives you clarity to continue or to look for something else. However, your purpose will not arrive if you just wait there and believe that it will come to you. No, you have to go to your purpose and try things out.
There's a saying that goes that you don't find your passion finds you. So I think it's something that you don't necessarily need to look for, but it's something that you need to have the intention to go out and be and just be aware of what's going on around you, inside of you, and you start doing the inner work. It seems like the passion kind of starts coming out, and the purpose, like even Carmichael calls it, your purpose comes from your pain. So take your pain that you had, take the opportunities of previous so-called failures, and use that to assist other people as well. And that's where you kind of get your Ikigai, because the passion purpose kind of falls into each other, where you kind of pursue your passion. Every morning you wake up with something bigger than yourself, you start pursuing that, and your passion does help to obviously create and help you making money from your purpose. So that's kind of my short summary of that.
love the insight, and I know that, yeah, I can believe that for me as well, like Evan Carmichael was actually one of my inspiration as I was digging into further on my self growth, and actually now if we jump on like 3 questions out of the box, Jasper, like okay. Jasper, what does it mean to you to stand up as a powerful man or woman?
As a guy, as a man, ego is our enemy. There's actually a book about, I think, what's it called? His name is Ryan Holiday. He wrote the book Ego is the Enemy, and that's so true. I mean, I can speak for guys because I'm one as well. We tend to try to sort everything out with our mind, with our ego. And I've learned through the last, and with almost like a push from my wife as well, and really assist me with that, is to rather to start living my life according to my heart and my soul, and not really my mind. Obviously, you need your mind, you need to take your mind with, but really listen to your heart and your soul, pursuing your dreams, of pursuing whatever you need to do. Because if you look at the world today, we try to solve the world's problems with our mind, and we need to try to do it with our heart and our soul. We will never solve any problems with our mind. It can help us and guide us towards something, but not to that. So I think that's very, very important. And then very closely linked to that is to be a leader without a title, to really don't do it for the pride, or don't do it for the applause, but really do it for the bigger purpose of what you want to stand up for and what you want to do. And so, and yeah, I think that in lastly, just speak your mind. I mean, speak your mind in a way that you very truthful what you say, but do it in a respectful way. So I mean, again, we get back to emotional issues and getting pains in all kinds of places in your body, and you don't know where it comes from, but it's because you don't speak your truth. You let other people decide your life for you and your truth for you, but you're not able and you're not powerful enough to actually speak your truth. So short answer, but I think that's pretty much from my side, and that's my change from as a powerful man, I believe, from where I thought I was coming from something like kickboxing, where it's a very like kind of macho kind of thing, where I had to change my whole mindset and being to pursue everything I do with my heart and soul, and not really with my mind. And that's why last thought on that is that's why I go into meetings these days, or conversations, with just ask to bless that time that I spent with somebody, that whatever need to happen in that time need to come out and need to happen, because wherever we are, we're supposed to be, and we need to make a difference in that time that we are there. So yeah, that's my summary.
Yes, and actually your summary could be as well one word, where we go back to authenticity. A powerful man is a man who respects his own belief, and lead and live and breathe with authenticity.
Yes,
and
for sure.
And if we go back to about 2021, what would be your 3 words to define 2021 as a compass for you, or what you would like 2021 to stand for?
Generosity, authenticity, ikigai. If you live for your bigger value, for something that's not you, not your business, not you, and something bigger than yourself, then you have something to wake up in the morning and to do something good for somebody else. And when you start doing something good for somebody else, a lot of good tend to fall on your doorstep. So I would believe being generous, be authentic, and just follow your ikigai. Follow what's in your heart and your soul to do, and just follow that. And I think everything would be okay.
Step by step, as the staircase shows up. And I know as well another word which is close to you and to me too. Why is hope important for you, Jasper?
Why is hope?
Yeah, why is hope important for you? What does it stand for you?
I think it's to leave behind a legacy of an inspiration to a lot of entrepreneurs for me, to be the best husband and father I could be, and I really hope that I can be there and do that, and be that person that I really strive to be. So, and everything I've talked about today, and just really be very focused on living my truth around those items I've mentioned today, and in exchange for that, I really give somebody hope of overcoming obstacles that I also went through, maybe similar to me. I overcome certain obstacles. I can be an inspiration of hope to other entrepreneurs or other people as well, to also overcome those obstacles. To give you an example, I mentioned I've been in a very dark place. I've been in a very, very dark place 10 years ago. I mean, I don't want to delve too deep into that, but you can just, paint the picture draw the picture for yourself in the sense of the dark place. And during this last year, I've seen a lot of people that, really just been on the edge of suicide and all kinds of stuff. And I could notice it very fast in them, and I can be inspiration of hope at probably sometimes the perfect time that God created or God put me in front of those people at that specific time. So if that maybe makes sense, to try to get those people also over that obstacle and to understand that there's also hope for them at the end. And lockdown is really, this whole COVID-19 is going to be a year for a long time. I think it's a good 2 to 5 years. Nobody knows. I'm not even there to judge anything or say anything, but it's going to be here for quite some time. And I think what it taught us was that, and that was 10 years ago taught me as well, was money is only one portion of the equation. If your money falls away, you can't fall apart, because then you've built your foundation wrong. Then everything you built for was for money and it wasn't for the bigger cause and the bigger purpose of your life.
And thank you for bringing this definition of hope as well, that when we may be in both situations, that we may be in a place where we need hope at one certain moment, and at another time we still may have hope, but at the same time be an inspiration for others of hope. Yeah, that something else is possible, and that we whatever difficulties or challenges we have been through, some others have faced similar difficulties and they have overcome them. And
definitely. Love it.
Thank you so much, Jasper, for sharing. And how can our listeners can connect with you and follow your outstanding work? Where can they reach you out?
So I'm mostly on Facebook and Instagram. Just my name, Jasper Basson. They will see me there. I try to do a daily post on entrepreneurship, on tools and tactics for entrepreneurs. There a lot of inner work. So Facebook, Instagram, like you mentioned in the beginning, YouTube is Jasper Basson, Accounting, Tax and Habits. I do some of my mentors. I do mentor videos there, mentor series videos on there. I do my own kind of motivational and tactics, everything there. And I think that's a very good start. And from there you will find links to some other also free content that I provide, daily entrepreneur courses, emails that you will receive. But start with Facebook, Instagram, on my name, and YouTube on basically also on my name, Jasper Basson, Accounting, Tax and Habits.
Wow. Jasper, thank you so much for taking the time to dig even deeper for our audience, and your biggest learnings, how you start your day, how you finish your day. Bring us onto your life for an hour, and thank you for your capacity as well to teach us to always want more out of life, for as well the benefits of others. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jasper, for your precious time, and wishing you peace of mind, inside out.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.